My name's Simon North. I studied at Medway College of Art in Rochester in the late 60s and early 70s. At that time, there were quite a few Thames sailing barges on the river. They were coming out of commission, being sold off or laid up. It was possible to buy one very cheaply because the owners didn't want the expense of breaking them up. Rochester attracts thousands of tourists every year, and for any one of them it must be plain to see why Charles Dickens chose this historic city as his home for many years, writing some of his most famous novels here. A city full of inspirational characters, each and every one with a fascinating story to tell. I've been away for nearly 30 years working as a globe-trotting creative director in the ad industry. When I came back quite recently, I decided to come back to Rochester out of curiosity. I noticed that nearly all the barges had gone, disappeared. Join me on a voyage of discovery to find out where the sailing barges are that I saw on the Medway and who has them now. Passing the wind farms, the Cambria continued on her epic cargo-carrying voyage at a leisurely pace, with a light breeze to push her along at a cool 4 knots. I was surprised to see a vast stretch of land way offshore at low tide, an enormous beach reserved only for some strange creatures who had claimed it for their own. It is said that some of these sandbanks were once islands, and one in particular off the Kent coast was once a kingdom of a Viking by the name of Godwin. But perhaps that's just another seaman's tale. I couldn't help but to be transported into another world, surrounded by some of the most tranquil open spaces our beautiful coastline can offer. These would have been familiar sights to the sailormen of old, and I would put it to you that they must have felt a close affinity to the powers of nature, using, as they did, the winds and the tides, combined with their hard-earned skills to deliver their cargoes. Finding a quiet anchorage in a tranquil backwater was all part of the job, but for me, this was my first experience of its kind on a Thames sailing barge, and I could begin to understand the enthusiasm of the last remaining barge owners.
There behind Simon. Right, okay. Take this off.
The barge crews of old usually consisted of skipper and mate, and on the last voyage of the Cambria, Bob Roberts and Dick Durham were the only crew on board. What makes a sailing barge so easy to handle is that everything has a purpose. The old sailorman would say, if it looks wrong, it is wrong. Everything about a Thames sailing barge is about functionality and practicality. It is because of this that it appears so beautiful, a blingless beauty with no ornament or vanity. Even the flag on the mast is there to announce the wind direction. Those red sails are not dressed to please the eye, but to protect the sailcloth. But keeping the Cambria alive and active means a lot of work. Behind the scenes, a team of dedicated volunteers are continuously keeping her in tip-top shape and ready to sail.